it was like at an Xbox E3 or like some show that they were doing, that they were like selling body like green body wash.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, it was like a Xbox or Microsoft branded body wash. I do remember that.
It was like sending out a very clear message.
Hey man, we got on the show floor. Some things could be pretty stank, man.
Yeah, that's why I don't be going to those things.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
To be very fair though, I was when I went to PAX East, everyone was pretty good. They didn't smell bad. I can
Nah,
say
man,
that.
that's impossible. There's definitely one person that was there that was smelling a little suspect.
I mean, sure, but like I didn't smell them, and I think yeah, man, they've all probably just like hid in their hotel rooms or B&B rooms, and didn't go to clubs because they definitely didn't go to the club. I'll tell you that much.
Oh man.
We
God
saw
damn,
we
we
saw,
started on roasting over here. Golly.
no, but I mean that the going to that club was cool because that's where like I saw like a bunch of like developers and like YouTubers and everything over at PAX East, like everybody
Sounds great.
from what's that cosplayer's name? Miari, Jenna Miari, I think
Yeah,
her name
Elaine
is.
Miari, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she was there. Darshell
Hey, yeah.
Stevens was there. A whole bunch of developers from Ubisoft were there. Obviously Square Enix because of Seven Remake and all that stuff. But yeah, it was cool just kind of see everybody just kind of like in one place. Like I know everybody from YouTube, like or some shit like that. It was
Yeah.
pretty cool. All right, back on topic. Let me send it out. Walt, let me know if oh well. Did you get that notification too?
Yeah, I did. Um, but he'll join back, I guess. Let's just get started before something like that happens to me too. Um,
All
all
right.
right. Welcome back to the to episode 51 of the DualShock and Sense podcast. I am your host, Soul, the connoisseur of anime waifus. Joined as always by one half of my usual podcast co-hosts. I got Macho here. How you doing, man?
What's going on? Dude, this is gonna be a rough podcast. Oh jeez. In case anybody is wondering, we're both having storms at the moment, so internet connection can be hit or miss. But as of right now, remember I told you guys before, like, yeah, it's not that bad. It's kind of like light snowing. Now the snow is actually going down.
Oh
So,
man.
so we'll see. It's gonna be rough. Might be a shorter podcast or it might be a regular one. But at this point,
Yeah.
the King of Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy fanatic is ready for episode 51. So,
Yeah. And like anyway, like we're kind of like grasping at straws for topics here, so like there's really not too much to talk about, so but yeah, we'll make it work. Also we our other podcast host Walt may drop in and out occasionally. Who's to really say? I guess I'll take one for the team and do his intro for him. Um, uh, Hello guys. My name is Walt, the manga maniac. Uh, no manga today. Uh, whatever else he says. Um, but
sorry, I was listening to sound and you're just,
but yeah, he's maybe he'll do his intro when he gets here, maybe not. But yeah, guys, we got a few topics to discuss while we're here. But first, before we jump into it, we're gonna talk about the games that we have been playing this past week. And yeah, Macho, you want to kick things off?
Actually, you go first. That way I can send out the link and everything, and then we can go from there. So,
Okay.
you dip in
All right.
first.
All right. So, well, for me, it's really not been much. I haven't even finished Cyberpunk. I've still been just kind of like running around Night City and doing as many side quests as I can before actually going off to do the final mission. Um, so yeah, that's a bit of the thing. I've been doing a lot of side quests, like I just said. A lot of them have been really fun, but I think my main issue is that like I think I've just been so used to things like The Witcher or even Horizon Forbidden West and having these side quests turn into like really long, like falling into like the rabbit hole of these things seemingly being like small issues and then turning into like really really long missions that can almost like resemble a main mission sometimes. And with Cyberpunk, like I've been kind of disappointed. Like there are some of those quests in this game, but a lot of them are just like short little like I had one yesterday that was like, oh, a cyber psycho attacks this really fancy store while I'm in there shopping, and he runs in there, he attacks all the security, and he's coming for the owner of the store, and I basically just shotgun him down like a couple times, and that's literally I the police come, they ask me a few questions, and that's literally the extent of the side quest. So I've been a little bit disappointed that like a lot of the side quests have been sort of like short little things like that rather than like the long sort of like I don't know like bloody baron type of things that happened in like The Witcher. So that's been kind of disappointing, but
So more I guess style than substance, you can say.
and like well like the thing is that they're still fun and interesting, but I just wish that they were longer, right? Um, but yeah, and the thing is that like Cyberpunk still has some of those things that are like that, like the one I was talking to you guys about last week of the politicians who were having their memories like rewritten and new memories implanted into them. Like that was a like a what's the word, like a quest line, a thing that happened over the course of like multiple quests. And so the one that I'm talking about right now, that was just a single like short little quest. It's like I wish
Hmm.
more of these quests were like the one with the politicians getting their memories rewritten. Because that's like the stuff that I really like sink my teeth into and that I really really love. But like, yeah, there's only a few of those, and yeah, I wish there was more, man. I wish there was more. Um, but yeah, really aside from that, not too much. I've actually been watching a lot more TV than playing games. I just finished The Last Kingdom, season 5, the last season,
Oh, that
which
came out already?
yeah, it just came out. I've been I binged it in like 2 days, I think, man. Um, that season is a goddamn gut punch, man. Like every episode is a gut punch.
Is it
It's pretty,
really? Oh man, now you
yeah,
convinced me more to watch it. It's still
yeah.
been on my list, and I just been gaming more than anything.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. I need to finish. Yeah, so I finished it, and now my biggest thing is like I want to finish reading the books. I think there's like 11 books in total, and I'm only on like book 4 or 5. I want to say. The good thing is that they're not that long. Like the one that I just finished recently was only like I want to say like less than 300 pages. Like they're relatively small books, so like you can definitely do it.
Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah. Well, you watched The Last Kingdom, right?
I do. I still need to watch the latest season.
Okay. Um, yeah, so finish that. Fantastic way for that show to go out.
Okay, good. So it's a good
Yeah.
ending.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
final season.
Yeah, it's the final season.
Oh, perfect. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a nice length, I think. Like 5 seasons, I think that's a good length for a
Right.
show.
Yeah, for sure. And there's some things that I felt like, man, like I didn't think was too satisfying the ways that they ended, but still it
Mm,
wrapped up overall like pretty well. I was pretty happy with the season. Um,
okay.
yeah, so I watched that, and then the other show that has kind of been eating away at my like gaming time is this show. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's called Norseman on Netflix.
Well, the comedy one?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah, I think I've heard of it.
So essentially it's like a slapstick sitcom within like a Norse mythology world. Like think Vikings, but it's like The Office essentially. Um and
That's an interesting
it's,
pairing.
yeah, it's not like or even like Parks and Rec. It's not like people like telling jokes all the time. It's literally just like this is just how people in this universe act, and they're completely serious, and it's just hilarious. It's like that kind of comedy.
It's like
Um,
everyone. It's like everyone's Steve Carell. Like everyone's serious when they say their lines.
yeah,
But it's
yeah,
so funny.
yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
think I saw
it's
like the first 2 episodes, but I was not in a mindset. I was like looking for like at that moment I was like, man, I want like a series like Viking, like gritty, like something serious. And I put it on and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, me too. That's why I stayed away from this show for so long. But then
Mm,
yeah, just I don't know why, but I just like sat down and finally watched it and was like like out of nowhere just like binged the first two seasons, and I'm on season 3 right now.
how many
Um
seasons does it have?
Only 3. It got canceled. So there's not
Oh,
going to be a season 4. Yeah.
what didn't
Which
do
is
well?
um I'm guessing the last one didn't do well, but I mean it had to have done well to get 3 seasons in the first place, but
Honestly. Hmm.
yeah, there's not going to be a season 4. But
Gotcha.
yeah, it's really funny. There there was like in the first episode there's this scene where so apparently in like old Norse culture, if you get to like a certain age, your village just like they can't like you're considered like a burden, so like they won't take care of you anymore. So they have this thing called the Atastup, I think, and essentially it's like where old people throw themselves off a cliff.
Oh my
um
God.
yeah, to their death essentially. And so like the first episode, it's like a bunch of these old people like about to do it, and this slave is in charge of like making sure that the old people are doing it properly. And the slave is like, "Don't worry, guys. It's like the most honorable thing that you can do, honestly." And and like the old people are like trying to decide like who goes first, until one of them actually finally like steps up to the plate. He's like, "Okay, guys, I'll do it." And he's like, "To Valhalla!" And he runs off of it, and immediately just dies. And then the other old people like look over the cliff, and they're like, and the slave's like, "All right, who's next?" And then the old guys are like, You know what? This thing, it's not really my thing." And the slave is like, "Well, technically, I'm just a slave, so like, I can't force you guys to do anything." So they're like, "Okay." So like, they all decide not to do it. But yeah, it's hilarious, man. It's really good stuff. Like it's literally taking like old like Norse, like customs and things like that, and then just putting like a comedic like twist on it. Um,
Right.
yeah, it's really great. There's this one character who's like a jarl, and he in a battle with like sort of like the main characters, he gets his hands chopped off, and in one of the scenes he like hires out multiple blacksmiths from like around the area to basically make him new hands, and they're all just absolutely like so shitty, man. Like one of the pairs of hands that one of the blacksmiths makes for him, it's like one of the hands is like a just a wooden spoon, and then the other one is just like a stump with like 5 like sticks like poking out of them. It's just hilarious. And then the other one is like if you guys remember like the karate episode in SpongeBob where he just has like those giant like red like giant ass
Like
hands.
foam. Yeah, like
Right. One of the pairs of hands that he gets made for him is like literally that, but they're just like giant metal like gloves, like foam gloves. And he can't bend the fingers or anything like that. So at the end of the day, he just has like his slaves like spoon feed him like soup and stuff like that. It's fucking hilarious, man. But yeah, it's a great show. That's basically what's been taking up the lion's share of my time right now. But yeah, not too much gaming. But yeah, what about you guys? What's going on with you?
Well,
well,
go
my
for it.
band.
Go for it
Well,
before you get clocked out again by your internet.
it's stabilized. Well, this week on Walter's Gaming Corner, what have I done? I have not played too much throughout the week. Um, I've mainly been spending time with family more. I played more during the beginning of the week, so after the podcast, 2 days after, I played a little bit then. Um, y'all can guess what I've been playing. Been playing Elden Ring. A lot of Elden Ring. Right now, I am at how many hours? I'm at 72 hours, and I think I am
Sheesh.
near the end. I don't know. I, something that I focused on this week with this game is I respect. and I reallocated my stat points. I was going full Unga Boonga strength, just one hit Kapuya and stagger the enemy. Uh, but I changed to a mage because I've been hearing that this game's way of being, easier is different builds that you can do. And ladies and gentlemen, I can confirm that that is quite the truth. Uh, I am fully mage. Like if I get hit,
Oh man, wait, wait,
I might
wait.
die.
Do my ears deceive me? Mach, are you hearing this? Wall, you're going for the easy mode in
Yeah, man,
Listen,
EVO?
man.
that's not how developers intended you to play the game.
Oh
You know
my
what's
god.
crazy? You can actually combine a certain amount of items. There's a spell that's essentially a stream of energy, and there's a flask that you can mix with a certain attribute that allows you to do cast spells for 10 seconds unlimited with no spending mana. If you take that, you amplify your spell attack, and you use that specific spell, you will melt a boss in seconds and kill the boss. But that being easy, you still have to, there's timing involved. You have to roll here, roll there, be able to dodge some hits. Uh, but it makes the game much more easier. Uh, you can actually go full strength, just full vigor and full just health and stamina, and be able to take hits like crazy, and it becomes easier as well. Um, the game gives you tools to make it easier. He who says that the game was not intended to be played like that, then why the actual hell are these things in the game? They are there for you to use. There are combinations that make your character absolutely busted, and that is fun as heck. That makes the game so much. So, imagine you struggling hours and hours and hours on a boss, and then you say, you know what? Screw this. I'm gonna get a guide. I'm gonna get that build on, and once you get that build, you get back to the boss, and boom, in seconds he's dead. You feel powerful. You feel accomplished. You feel good. Is it Joe? Cheese the boss. Shut up. It's in the game. It's in the game. It's intentional. You can do this. Now I have a friend. He got now this is cheesing, yo. I have a friend that he is using an external party hardware to duplicate weapons and like get like unlimited runes.
Oh, he's playing on PC, huh?
He's doing he's doing that. And it's his money. He can do whatever the hell he wants. He
Oh
got
man, yeah. I mean, those PC dudes love to they love to tamper
Hey
with their
man,
games.
he had like 9,999,999 runes or some BS, and he like leveled up, maxed his character and whatever. And I'm like, great, man. If you enjoy the game doing that, you enjoy the game doing that. I don't. That sounds miserable. So me, I went strength. Now I'm going mage. Game is easier. Sometimes, um, you don't have to quote unquote get good. That's a meme at this point. That's not to be taken seriously, but it's really at this point discouraging for people that haven't played the game ever, and you tell them to get good. Uh, don't do that, man. But I'm enjoying the game. Yeah, I'm enjoying the game.
Nice, nice.
You
That's
know.
it.
Yeah, just Elden Ring. Not much else this week. And it was the beginning of the week. I haven't played anything since. Been busy, but hoping to clock in more gaming time this next week. But what about you, Macho? Macho, you tweeted out you were eating good. That was like a whole list of games you've been playing, man.
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause I was literally thinking of like all the games that like I started and like kind of just job right now because of Horizon and Elden Ring. But I mean the past couple of days I haven't really been playing many games because I've just been so busy with just life stuff, actual adult stuff,
Hmm.
that to the point where I decided to just stop playing games and just kind of keep on trucking, man. But the kind of the big highlight for me the past week has been watching the Batman. I literally been talking about it with coworkers the entire week, and to the point where on Wednesday I didn't really feel like playing anything, so I just put on Batman movies and just started watching those. Just kind of getting
Nice.
back in that groove and just starting to read Batman comics too. But if you guys haven't seen the Batman, it's an incredible movie. I think it's definitely one of the best Batman movies out there for sure. Do you guys plan on seeing it, or have you seen it yet? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm gonna see it, but it's so weird. Like I hear people like I'm getting mixed signals from this movie, man. Like people are saying like, yeah, it was okay, or people are saying it was the best Batman movie, like ever. Like I don't know. I feel like it's like all over the spectrum. At least in like my circles and YouTube videos that I watch of like reviewers that I like. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I'm gonna see it, but yeah, it's just interesting that it seems to be not like polarizing in the sense of like a Last Jedi, but it is interesting that people are like not as like over the moon that I thought people were going to be with this movie.
Interesting, because I'm seeing something completely different. Some people, especially from coworkers, where they've seen it twice now, and I'm stuck in like, oh, I'm only seen it one time kind of camp. And I mean, from my perspective, yeah, I think it's the best Batman movie since The Dark Knight, and I love The Dark Knight. Obviously, incredible performances, but this was the first time I've ever seen a Batman movie, and the first time I've seen a comic movie since like I would say like Endgame, where if it really felt like it was a comic book come to life, and the cinematography and the different kind of shots they did. Like every shot in this movie is really intentional to just really harbor back to the comics, and also just to really, who's snacking over there? I hear you. Whoa, son of a bitch, stop snacking, you motherfucker.
I'm finished. That was the last bite.
This man thinks he's got free reign. So do something, reprimand or something, man.
Hey man, this ain't the snack police, man. I got nothing to say here.
Come on, man. Get your sons in line. He's still snacking over there too.
No, I'm not. I'm not eating anything.
Son of a gun.
I love how I didn't have to say anything. You knew who it was. I wanted to wait and see. I wanted to wait and see if this would have solved itself.
Absolutely not. You would have muted your mic. You would have done the smart thing. While still a little groggy. In any case, back to what I was saying before I was really interrupted by this man snacking. Yeah, every shot in this movie feels really deliberate to harbor back to the comics, and there's this one scene that I won't spoil, but it's actually in the trailer where Batman's just getting. It seems like he's like getting gunned down by all these machine guns that's in the dark and it's in the hallway, stuff like that, and he's just taking them out one by one. And every gunshot is lighting up the actual scene, like literally lighting up. So the only time you're actually seeing Batman do his thing is when he's actually going towards these enemies. And that's a shot, that's a sequence that feels like it's directly from the comics, man. Like it looks incredible, and just the way like it's shot, like it makes sense. You're not confused about what's happening. It's similar to like how that scene at the end of Rogue One where Darth Vader lights up his red lightsaber and just mows through these rebels. It's the same thing here in the Batman, where you just see it just complete pitch black, and the only form of light you have is from these gunshots, and all you just really see is Batman just taking them down one by one. And it's so cool to actually see that. Like the magic isn't lost just because you saw it in the trailer. Like seeing the actual movie is done in spades, and it's really cool. And a lot of shots are like that in the Batman. A lot of people are really kind of hesitant, I guess you could say, for Robert Pattinson being Batman and Bruce Wayne, but he's perfect as Batman. I think he has like he doesn't have kind of like the Christian Bale voices, like it's not who you are underneath, but what you do that define. It's not that, or what was his name? From Batman vs Superman.
Ben Affleck?
Ben Affleck, yeah. It's not like Ben Affleck's where he has like a voice modifier or anything like that. Like it's Robert Pattinson's voice. So at times, like you can hear like a little bit of young Batman in there, but it's not too jarring. But as Bruce Wayne, he's not the playboy. He's not at that moment yet. This is Batman and Batman Bruce Wayne as he's trying to figure out what it really means to be Batman, and to see him uncover that, and to have this story be more of like a coming of age tale than just like a Batman being a badass is actually really cool to see. It's kind of like the opposite of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, where like you want to see Spider-Man do cool things, but you want to see like him become Spider-Man, right? Yeah. And we didn't really get that for like 3 movies for Holland, in my opinion. But in Batman, you're getting that story along with him doing really cool stuff that like you known Batman to do, and to just be like a complete menace. It's really cool stuff what they do in the movie.
He's a menace.
So if you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I think you're gonna be blown away just by the cinematography of it and just the atmosphere and the mood, and the performances are definitely like out of this world. It's really cool what they did with that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so well, have you seen it actually, or?
I haven't. Everyone's been raving about it on Twitter though, and my circle has been both people that praise it like it's the best thing since Dark Knight for them, and some people stating that the movie was disappointing. So I'm getting both
Interesting.
ends. But the people that I get that are saying, "Oh, they're disappointing," the way that they phrase that, it sounds like they're just hating. I don't know the way that they phrase it. I don't know, and then it comes off as, "I'm gonna not like it because everyone likes it." You know?
Oh yeah, the Cruncharians. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, the contrarians are coming out, but overall, I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited to watch it. I need to watch that in IMAX as a movie for. I hear the score is like phenomenal.
Yeah. It does that thing where similar to Horizon Forbidden West in like certain games where like they have like a main theme and the main melody that just carries throughout the entire game, or even Endwalker does this too. And Batman does the exact same thing where. What was it? I think Jay, you're probably familiar with more of the theme, right? Because I saw you on Twitter being artistic and shit, playing on the piano.
Oh,
And
yeah, man.
I'm just
I
busting your balls.
knew. No, you're good. Yeah, the when was it? The DC Fandom trailer is when they first like introduced that theme song, and literally from that day to like now, I've been like listening to like shitty like or until the music officially came out. Like I was on YouTube like trying to find that thing and like found a bunch of like fan versions of it and like shitty
Covers.
versions that were like pulled out of the trailer, but like you still hear like the sound effects in the background. Yeah, that theme song is absolutely fucking incredible.
Yeah, and it goes throughout the entire movie. Just like you hear beats and drums of it. It's so cool to like see them. I guess like, evolutionize it throughout the entire movie. Throughout just like as a main theme or like a fighting theme or just for ambiance or for shock value. Like it's really cool what they do with it.
Is that the one that's like dun 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 dun
Well, it's more just yeah. No.
You're humming like some Beethoven shit or something.
Hey, yeah. Going classic, boy. Is it the one that shows when he's trying to going towards the penguin on the trailer and the cars flip and
Yes.
you see him? Okay, yeah. Okay.
That's the one. That's the one that absolutely just like freaking enters your soul and just doesn't leave throughout the entire movie.
Oh, so it goes.
Yeah, exactly. They do have a couple classics in there, but yeah, the entire mystery with like the Riddler and everything, like they did a really good job just making this. I guess one of the first hardcore detective movies for Batman. And just solving everything the Riddler's doing. Like obviously, only the Batman can figure out like these riddles that are going around, and he's very astute and very like clever. But even then, still the Riddler still has a lot of tricks up his sleeves to something that I didn't even expect him to really like do on the type of level that he did. And it's really interesting to see where they're going to take it from there. So, really good stuff. Really good stuff with the Batman. Highly recommend it. In terms of games, though, I've been jumping back and forth between Horizon Forbidden West, getting like the platinum in that, a little bit of Elden Ring. I haven't been playing too much of that just because the other game that I picked up, which was Triangle Strategy. That one I did that tickle your fancies a little bit, Well?
Look at that. I tried to start it one night, but couldn't do it service because I was really tired, and I was like, man, this is gonna be story. I'm gonna fall asleep because I'm so tired. I'll start it later, and I just left it out for starting it later. But
Yeah, that's fair.
I have it.
That's fair. I definitely impulse bought it after I saw the Batman and after all the things I've been hearing. It sounded like the game I wanted anyway. Especially after Elden Ring and Horizon Forbidden West being so gameplay focused. It's nice to kind of chill back and just have something to more or less like just kind of watch and interact with it on a story level. But Triangle Strategy is really interesting because it's definitely more story focused. There's a lot more cutscenes than anything. You're definitely be learning more about the background of the world of Norzelia and these three kingdoms that inhabit it, where they're just really kind of on a resource war with each other for salt and iron. There's one kingdom called Glenbrook, which is where your main character you're playing as, named Sonoa. You're going to be focusing more on him, and Glenbrook is more of kind of like the mediator between the two kingdoms of Aesfrost and Hyzant, where they're the kind of like the more like the military power, so to speak. So they kind of that's where they're coming there more as the mediator. And Aesfrost is more focused on the iron portion, so they obviously harvest more of that stuff and get materials more on there. And then Hyzant is more on the salt process, where their kingdom's actually surrounding a huge lake that produces all this salt. So that's where they come in with all these resources. And the story more or less kicks off where Serenoa, the person you're playing as, is going to be wed to Federica, who's one of like the nobles of Aesfrost.
Oh,
And
it rolled out the tongue, huh? Federica.
yeah, obviously they don't say like, they say like Federica. I'm just like, it's
They're like,
Federica.
hey, Federica, come here.
Yeah, so I mean that's where the story more or less kicks off, where like their union's going to more or less kind of strong arm a little bit Hyzant to like kind of join this alliance for peace and stuff like that. And I haven't really gone far into the story. I'm like in the middle of chapter 3, but more or less where you're going to be doing like in these cutscenes and more the story interactive part of everything here is you're going to be making decisions. So it's not cookie cutter. It's not like, oh, like choose A, B, and C really. Like a lot of these decisions really have an effect on who joins you in like your story, as far as like allies, or even if you're making enemies, or even to certain points of where you go in the story. So one of the breakoffs in the middle of chapter 3 is that you can either go to the kingdom of Aesfrost or Hyzant next, and based on what things you've done before could actually deliberate where you're going to next. So for instance, in like the beginning chapters where it lets you explore a little bit in towns and kind of talk to people and stuff like that, you can, if you talk to any random bystander, you can actually get information about the world, but it also adds to your knowledge that you can actually store for later. So, for instance, there's one time I was talking to a random civilian, and he was talking about like a powerful ice mage. Well, Serenoa actually kept that information in mind, and then when you actually made the decision to either go to Aesfrost or Hyzant, you can actually use that information to convince someone else in your party that wanted to go to Aesfrost. So, well, maybe we should go to Hyzant because this ice mage is actually, they're actually traveling into Hyzant, and maybe that one person is really intrigued by that ice mage. So that's where you can kind of really influence decisions of where you go and stuff like that, which is actually really cool. I haven't gone too deep into that part just because from what I hear at the end of chapter 3 is when it really kicks off, and like the surprises and the twists. But that stuff, like, I'm really interested to see where it goes, and I'm liking these characters. I'm liking the world. The world building is really fantastic too. So right now it's hitting all the notes that I want to hit. And it's really cool, man. But as far as when it comes to the actually strategy role-playing part of it, which is the other big factor of it, it's a classic turn-based strategy role-playing game, top-down grid stuff. Nothing too much to really kind of dive into other than that. It's pretty simple at the moment. Most of your characters are very nimble and can actually take more than one space at a time. They actually take like up to 4 or 5 spaces, which is really critical for the gameplay since it is based around movement and positioning. But
So it's very much like tactics, right? Like Final Fantasy Tactics.
yeah, more or less, except you don't really have like a variety in the job system, so to say. You have more of a flexibility in just their movement and kind of the technical aspects that you can do within there. So, for instance, Serenoa is more of like a sword combat guy. So a lot of his stuff is more short range, obviously. And then you have other people that have bows and arrows, but they're very specifically tied to that. You can't really change like their equipment or their class, so to speak.
Mm,
But
okay.
with that said, though, what you can do is that when you say you have Serenoa like in front of somebody, you're about to attack it. So you do your attack, you end your turn, and the next person that's next to Serenoa, they can go behind the enemy and attack the enemy and actually do more critical damage. But the thing is, you have pairing attacks. So if you have a person in front and the person behind an enemy, or side to side, and vice versa,
Hmm.
you can actually double attack somebody to do more damage. So
I see.
that's where sort of some of the strategy comes in, and obviously enemies have weaknesses and stuff like that that you can target. So a lot of it is really just about movement and like where you're placing your people, so that one, they don't get killed easily, but two, how can you take advantage of all these technical attacks that are very positional.
Gotcha. Okay. And it has that this Gaia thing where I didn't play tactics, but I know this Gaia you can have like combos if you're like near people.
Not that I know of yet. Again, it's more based on like those positional attacks I was telling you about, where someone's
Mm-hmm.
behind one person in front of the other, and you can just attack them, and it'll just kind of uh, ping pong off of each other for that.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But
Okay.
nothing really in terms of combo attacks yet.
Mm.
But yeah, like I said, I'm only 4 to 5 hours into it. Out of those 4 or 5 hours, I only battled maybe like 4 times. So
Gotcha.
a lot of it is very like building the world and kind of like the situation. It's very like it's very high fantasy esque right now, and right now I'm kind of digging it because the art is beautiful. It's a 2D HD graphics. The music is also really good too. So it's a very nice chill kind of experience where I'm just waiting for more of like the story twist that I keep hearing about from people that I talk to about this game with. So
Cool, man. Can't wait to get into it more.
yeah, it's really good stuff. Really good stuff. So yeah, that's Triangle Strategy, Horizon West, and a little bit Elden Ring. That's just about it that I've been playing this week, man. That's all I have time for. But honestly, today this is kind of like the perfect day. I have nothing to do, so I honestly think I'm just gonna get into more Triangle Strategy and probably do more cleanup in Horizon Forbidden West because there's a lot of stuff I didn't do in the side quest. So I want to do that.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, there's even like races that I actually didn't know was in the game until like kind of recently in Forbidden West, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd even
Um,
start that.
yeah, that's crazy. Um, but yeah, man, that sounds pretty cool, man. Um, and we'll definitely be getting into Square Enix a little bit later as well, with because they had some pretty recent announcements. But yeah, sounds cool. So yeah, we are going to jump into the podcast proper, but before we do, I want to remind everyone to go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel, or like the podcast and subscribe to the channel. We would greatly appreciate that. Man, I don't know how I'm doing this. I'm in first place right now on this race, and and like it's so stressful trying to talk and do this at the same time. But it's like the thing where you're trying to like what is it, like pat your head and like rub your stomach at the same time, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do that for an hour straight. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
While
Um,
talking.
yeah. But all right, guys. So let's jump into some of these topics. First, let's we could get the God of War one out of the way first. And also I'm gonna ask one of you guys if you guys could get the like EVO lineup together and ready for when we do jump into that.
Coochie,
Um,
coochie,
cool,
coochie,
cool.
coochie.
So yeah, but let's jump into this God of War one because it is pretty interesting. I'm curious to see what you guys' like immediate reaction was. So obviously we got news from Deadline saying that Amazon is currently in talks with PlayStation to try to get their hands on the God of War IP for a TV adaptation. Um, so my immediate reaction was why. Like I don't like I personally I'm not excited about a God of War um adaptation in like TV. It makes it a little better, right? I would rather that than a movie. Cause like I'm like, what do you do? What do you do first? Like, do you go back to the Greek mythology stories and do that? I mean, you almost have to do that first, right?
Well,
Rather than
that's what my
just
question was for you because I don't know too much details about this, but what were the details surrounding this? Is it going to Norse? Is it Greek? Like, what are we doing?
we don't know. We don't know. This isn't even like a
Okay.
100% happening. This is just like they're currently in talks, right? So this, for all intents and purposes, the talks can fall through, and this could not even be a thing. So that's
Okay.
really all we know. And then the other concrete piece of information that we do know that did sort of like turn my opinion around from like being like, okay, I don't want this to happen to a more like, okay, now I'm a little intrigued, is that the people behind this are the showrunners of and the creators of The Expanse on Amazon, which if you guys have not seen that, that is a fantastic cyberpunk slash sci-fi show on Amazon. That show similarly is based off of not a video game, but it's based off of a series of books, which also just recently ended. Both the books and the TV show just ended. But yeah, it is honestly one of the like best TV shows out there. I know Corey Barlog loves The Expanse, so it's actually really funny that these two are like kind of like will be connected. But yeah, so hearing that the creators of The Expanse, at least the adaptation form of it, is tied to this project does have me a little curious because I know that they kind of been through this before in terms of adapting source material into like another media or medium. So that makes me a little more intrigued. But yeah, aside from that, we really don't know anything else.
Okay.
Yeah, what about you guys? Does this are you guys excited for the possibility of this at all?
Well, I never seen The Expanse, so I don't really have anything to base it off of. But going off what you're saying, and obviously Corey Barlog's taste, this kind of reminds me of when we learned that Craig Musin, I think his name is, who obviously headed the Chernobyl mini TV series or limited series that got praised like so much. Like I remember seeing that on Twitter, like man, everybody's talking about this show, and that he was going to be the head for the Last of Us TV show. And I was like, okay, that actually makes me feel better about this actually being a thing. It's kind of the same situation here. If and again, going by your recommendation, by what you guys say, like yeah, okay, this is something. This isn't something really for me to worry about on like who's really heading it and who's going to be involved because it seems like it's going to be something that's going to be put a lot of care into, hopefully, right? Because we had the same thing with Uncharted movie where I think Tom Holland was like the spotlight for that movie getting for being as fun as it is. I'm not going to say good because I feel like it's kind of a stretch, but if for a movie being as fun as it is, I think it was Tom Holland. Like that was the right choice, but the director was like a completely different thing in my opinion. But for something like this, yeah, I kind of want to wait and see. I really I want to see where they go with it because if they are going to go with Greek mythology first, it's going to be a completely different show than
Yeah,
the 2018 game. So
and I feel like if you want to do like a God of War adaptation, like I feel like 2018 is the one that like you're kind of like signing your name onto, right? Not the Greek mythology version of this IP, right? Like I feel like yeah, when people think of God of War now, it's the 2018 version. So like um yeah, it's really interesting that yeah, we do have like all of these like potential for backstory with the Greek stories that they could do.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm just curious to see like how exactly do they implement that? Do they just straight up go, okay, let's start with God of War 1 and work our way up to 2018, or do we do 2018 first and have God of War 1 through 3 be like peppered in throughout the TV series as sort of like flashbacks or something? Because you can't just ignore it, right? Like you can't just ignore
Right.
it. You have to talk about those stuff.
yeah, no, he had a daughter in God of War One.
He had
So
a wife. I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah.
and the thing is that how do you tackle that in TV form? Because in the games, it very much just serves as the catalyst for his rampage. Do you like invest more time in the daughter and wife? Do you make it a little bit of a dramatic show where you see Kratos just being a father, like for like his first time being a father and how he failed to protect them? Like, how do you go about that? Or do you just make it a flashback thing where he's like fighting Apollo and then boom, flashback, and you see Kratos like, I don't know, like he's picking corn and bringing it to the house. I don't know, like how do you mix and
And
match
Picking
like
that?
corn.
and like all like the reason why God of War 2018, or like one of the many reasons why 2018 works so well, is because we had all those years of backstory and
Hmm.
build up, which is why, you know, seeing Zeus in Helheim is such like a cool moment, or
We're seeing
why
Athena.
you're seeing Athena, or why the moment where you get the blades back is such like an important moment to that character. Him putting the blades away and then having to like drudge those things back into his life, despite detaching himself from you know that past, right?
Hmm.
You know why he is I don't know, just the whole relationship with his son is still like so tied to the life that he had before, and you know Kratos not wanting that to happen to his son, you know, not wanting to pass on his rage and things like that, um, you know, so like that's why, you know, those games are so important to have that context as to some of the big, you know, moments in 2018, or why Kratos does the things that he does. So like I guess my thing is that like it's similar to like Uncharted, why that movie is so like, despite it being fun, it's like it's trying to do all like Uncharted one. We need moments from Uncharted 1, 2, 3, 4 all into this one thing, and it's like it doesn't work because you didn't properly build up these things, you know, to get to that point. You're just skipping all the way to point C without going through point A and B to get there, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
like yeah.
I think that as long as they focus on one mythology, they'll be good no matter what sort of story they go for. Because if you go Greek, it's all interconnected. If you go Norse, it's all interconnected. So you can pretty much play around with scenes and whatnot. Because if you play God of War 1, 2, or 3, it's their own adventures, but it's the same story if you play them back to back. Uncharted, it's very much same characters, same relationships, but very different stories all around. Um, and I think that in terms of how to tackle like different characters and whatnot, I think they should just stay away from topics like Chains of Olympus or Ascension because it gets into the more complicated like fate and how do you like kill fate and Kratos trying to break his shackles from Ares and it gets a bit more convoluted I think for a show. I think they should just focus on like the main plot line with like Zeus or like a or flesh these characters out, you know? Like how does a day in the life of the gods look like when Kratos is not around, or something like that. I don't know, like humanize a bit of these characters, because all I know about Zeus is that he was a dick. That's all, and that he was, you know, no, like we need to go Kratos and Pandora's box. And how do you tackle that Pandora's box and Kronos? Do you even include Kronos? Because that's such a huge part of the story. The Titans, like, do you go for the Titan side of story? You know, I don't know.
That's why I think that we're just not going to get any of that stuff, and it's going straight into 2018,
Yeah.
I
and
hope so.
just give Kratos a different background. That seems like the cleanest way to do a TV show. Just give him a different background and go forth with the son and father story. Otherwise, you're just gonna get into that whole mess that you were just talking about. I totally forgot
Hmm.
about all that stuff. Like I would cry if I had to like include like all that stuff and figure out this intricate
Yeah,
way
no.
of doing it in flashbacks without overdoing it, without over expositioning. Like cut the fat, get to the point. You know.
Yeah.
It's a
If you're gonna do Norse like the 2018, it'd be cool if you get flashbacks of like like you get hints. If you play the game, you know. Like let's say you get a flashback of a silhouette bashing like a long hair dude into the ground or beating in like it's Kratos like he's sleeping and he wakes up like sweating and then you as a player you know oh that's him beating up Zeus in the last fight but no one knows that they're like oh my god wait is that like Kratos' path was he just a bloodlusted maniac like
Hmm.
I try to incorporate the Greek story into the 2018 setting that they go for but without making it seem like you have to put the pieces together to make sense of it, you know?
yeah, it's a ton for sure, but like again, I'll just go back to my earlier point, is that like I don't think if if you go straight to 2018, moments like the chains, getting back the blades, won't hit as hard because you don't have that context for his earlier life.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's really it's gonna be really tricky. Um, and like I think without a doubt, the one thing that we can say for certain is that this is going to be the most difficult sort of adaptation under PlayStation Productions to actually pull off, just because of all the baggage that we just talked about. This isn't, Ghost of Tsushima is, I don't want to say easy, but it is, I think, not as tall as a task to do compared to God of War. Or why Uncharted on paper shouldn't be as difficult to do as God of War, or or Twisted Metal, or any of the other things that they're working on at PlayStation Productions. Like God of War will be the toughest thing to do just because of all the baggage, all of its history that it has in comparison to everything else that they want to do at PlayStation
Yeah,
Productions.
and thematically, because God of War has a lot of creatures. It has a lot of potentially CGI worthy moments in the show.
It is for sure going to be the most expensive as well. Yeah.
Yeah, like the last thing I remember that is even close to what God of War might do in terms of creatures is Clash of the Titans or in Wrath of the Titans, um, which was based on Greek mythology, and you had all these creatures and like fights and Spartan fights and whatnot. Uh, I think 2018 is more of a TV worthy uh, project that they can take their time with and actually build character. I don't.
Again, I would have loved. I don't understand this insistence on making everything live action. Like I
Yeah.
would have loved an animated God of War. Like, can you
Ooh,
imagine how gorgeous that would look, man?
like
Like,
Castlevania style.
yeah, well,
I
yeah.
mean,
We
I mean, I
always,
mean that's not out of the question, you know. Like you said, it's in talks, so maybe they
Hmm.
figured that can just suit the actual series better.
I think specifically they said, like live action. Like that's what they want.
Yeah, I mean,
But
And you know
I,
who's
I
gonna play Kratos?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's like the other weird part, man. Is just like, I,
Who plays
it's it.
Kratos?
It gets into like that weird uncanny thing of like seeing characters that we've known for so many years be portrayed as like one thing, and then like I don't know, having someone like Dwayne the Rock Johnson play Kratos, or
My
Bautista
goodness.
playing Kratos or something like that. Like I don't know, and I'm not saying that they can't do it,
John
but
Cena.
I don't know, it'll be
oh
weird.
my God, John Cena. Wow.
You won't be able to see him on screen. That'd be
But
weird, man. Like when I saw this, like I immediately went to The Rock because like who do you portray? Like who portrays Kratos? Like because
Christopher Judge.
that's the thing. Like you get him right because that's like the best. Like he can act, you know. It's
Yeah,
not just
no,
a
no.
voice acting. He's a performer. Like he can perform the shit out of Kratos.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
know.
Put Christopher Judge in there.
yeah,
Nothing
but
wrong
like
with
Man.
if
that.
you're him, do you really want to, like, sure, there may be something interesting there to play Kratos at a younger age during his Greek
Hmm.
days, but like do you really want to like retread the same material and play him again as essentially, once you get to the 2018 stuff, like do you really want to do that stuff over again? Like
All
I don't
right,
know.
Michael
I
Cera
mean,
then.
why not? Especially if he has like that connection to the character, like he'll probably feel like he's. Yeah, I wouldn't see why not. Because we're seeing so many other characters come back from just. I mean, for nostalgia point, because like No Way Home, right? Who would have thought Tobey Maguire would have came back to play
Mm,
Spider Man? You know,
mm.
or the fact of who was it just recently? Oh God, I'm blanking now on who would like I initially thought of. But like, yeah, we're getting like a bunch of actors just coming back just to play their old roles. So I wouldn't
But
see why
to
Twister Judge wouldn't want to do that. I feel like it feels so connected with the character, especially in that evolution of Kratos.
but to be fair, it's not like Tobey Maguire was brought back to, okay, let's do a remake of Spider-Man 2, or something like that, or
Mm.
Yeah, true.
or things like that. Like this is like, I'm not saying that this is gonna be like beat for beat, word for word, like an exact replica of like God of War 2018, but it's like, all right, it's like, all right, Christopher Judge, like, all right, man, let's go ahead and do the scene where you fight the stranger, or let's do the scene again with you pulling out the blades of chaos from underneath your house, right? Um, Yeah, I don't know. It's like it's not
Right.
like it's going to have the same weight and energy as it did the first time around, right? Like
Mm,
nothing can if you're redoing scenes like that. Um,
yeah.
but I don't know.
I think that's where the thought of a TV show can get really exciting because it can do it in different ways, similar
Sure.
to how the Uncharted movie did its like big bombastic moments in different ways, right? It obviously combined a lot from the games, like that airplane scenes, for instance. But then we have other moments like on the. I'm not going to spoil it for because Walt hasn't seen it, but like on the ship, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So where um, the big firefight happens and Tom Holland's like in the cabin area, and then the theme song starts playing.
Yeah.
Like that, like moments like that can have a different kind of reflection and remembrance for people that are watching it, that versus playing the games. And I guess everybody's going to feel differently about it, but I think that's where the potential of a God of War show can happen. But I mean, we'll see. It's going to be muddy waters, that's for sure. It's not going to be clean swimming.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what
Yeah.
they if this even goes through. Um,
Yeah. Just like the Twisted Metal series. See what happens. See what.
I mean that actually has a lead now, so that's a, it's
Yeah.
not a
Yeah.
what see is it's what we're gonna see kind of situation now.
Yeah. Let's see what we're gonna see. I hope all these shows just with because you can make a good video game show. It's just a matter of
Oh
doing it
yeah, you
right.
can. Arcane's still the best one.
Yes,
and again,
sir.
I'm saying, man, not everything needs to be. First of all, not everything needs to be made into an adaptation first and foremost. But if you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
do it, can we at least consider, making some of these things animated? There's nothing wrong with that, man. Look at Arcane and how
Yeah, man.
popular that was. Um,
Look at something as simple as Critical Role. They animated their campaign. They didn't do like a live action with actors. They did a Legend of Vox Machina on Prime Video, and they could go gritty on it and super like character development and it did fantastic. Like
yeah,
if you could do that I mean there's so much. Prime, we need to get Amazon this because Amazon allows anything. So that we need. Oh no. Uh, Sorry guys, I'm playing Elden Ring and I entered a place and everything just became pitch black.
He's like, oh no.
But yeah, man, I can't wait to see what happens.
yeah, yeah.
He's like,
But
oh no. Sorry.
yeah, that's it for the God of War TV show. Curious to see if
Sure.
this thing actually goes through or what happens.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about these these Sly Cooper rumors continue, man. I feel like every week we're getting something that sort of rekindles or reignites the hope. Um, but this time, pretty much from like one of the like I don't know if consistent is the right word, but like the one person that keeps sort of like bringing up this rumor. Yeah, he was essentially at it again, saying that Pixel Opus is the one who is going to be at the helm of the development for this project. We don't know exactly what they're working on, but we do know that they're whatever Pixel Opus is working on next is in conjunction with Sony Pictures Animation. Um, so yeah, I'm curious, like Macho, what does the possibility of a Pixel Opus Sly Cooper excite you at all?
When I read that in the chat, I was like, what? That was my media reaction because I just guys know I did play Concrete Genie, and
I did too.
yeah, I didn't platinum it. After I finished, I just kind of just didn't really care. I mean, it's a good game, but like I wasn't like super jazzed about it. So the thought of them doing a sorry, this freaking claw bear this bear machine's kicking my ass right now. The thought of them doing the next Sly Cooper is that's doesn't really fill me with a lot of confidence, to be honest. Especially in the visual department, sure, but like I don't know, man. That's it's not really who I expected to be taking on the
It's
next Sly
it's a
Cooper.
it's a weird choice because they're, if I'm not mistaken, if they're not the smallest team under Sony's umbrella, then they're definitely like one of the smaller teams. I think they only have like 20, maybe like 15 or 20 people at that studio. Like it's a really small team. Um, So like I don't know, like a project like Sly Cooper, where like I don't know, man. Like there's a lot that go like not even just to mention, like the voice acting that goes into it and the performances and having like multiple actors in there and things like that. I don't know, like it seems like a pretty fairly big project too. Not like on the scale like a Ratchet and Clank, but like sort of similar to that. It seems like a lot for a small team, but I mean then again, what do I know? Maybe they can do it. But yeah, I'm just curious as to like how this connection was made. Like why them? I don't have. I'm not saying they can't do it, but yeah, I'm curious as what was the reasoning for this exactly.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's what I'm trying to figure out, man. I have no idea. It's so interesting that if they are doing the next one, wow, I just totally ran into my own trap like an idiot. If they are doing the next one, then I really want to see what they do for the visual style because that's kind of like what I'm most worried about when it comes to the next Sly Cooper.
Well, does Sony Pictures being involved make you excited or less excited? Like, what do you think about that?
Well, you remembered how the movie was gonna look.
Yeah, was that Sony Pictures doing that?
I don't know if it was Sony Pictures, but if it was, I don't know.
And then again, that was pre PlayStation production. That was like what, like 2014 or something like that. So like I don't know. But my point is that there's definitely like what I would believe to be better leadership in PlayStation productions than back then who greenlit that atrocity. So like yeah, I don't know, man. It's tricky, but like then again, man, like PlayStation product or Sony animation or what pictures that like I don't know, Spider Verse, things like that. Like
Yeah,
I don't know. It excites me to see like what does that collaboration mean exactly? Like how is this game going to look? I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. I mean, yeah, as far as when it comes to gameplay in that department, I wouldn't really be too worried, especially since Conquering Genie is a fun game, but for me, it's like not something I really like go back to. I wasn't really super intrigued with it. But if it comes to like the puzzles or anything like that, I just feel like I don't know. I really want to see if that is true. I'm interested to see what they do with it because I'm not really super optimistic, but I'm interested.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. They gotta prove, like they've proved that they've made a competent game, and like I think if this is true, I think it is cool that they're given the opportunity to do something that like feels like without a doubt like a step above anything that they've tried before, because
Yeah,
they
100%.
absolutely deserve to get a chance to do that. But yeah, I'm just curious to see if this is true, like how it's going to shake up, but more than anything, just how it's going to look with Sony Pictures being involved. Um, but yeah, that's really all that I have on this topic. Um, I just think that the fact that Sly is just like constantly like a recurring rumor. Where there's smoke, there's fire, man. There's got to be something happening with Sly. For all these things to be coming up out of nowhere, there's got to be something.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, for all we know, it could have been one of those things where like they just couldn't find the right developer, and maybe with these rumors of Pixel Opus finally, or maybe rumors of Pixel Opus actually getting onto the project, it could bring something that we could be excited for again. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
I think either way, we might be getting news about it this year. Like
yeah,
that'll be my thing. If anything, push comes to shove, we'll be getting some information about it this year.
yeah. I hope so. There, I don't know if it was like in conjunction with the same exact rumor or just like one that came out like a few days before. But there was word that like the announcement was going to come at the second half of 2022. So. And then there was also the thing about the website being updated or whatever, something along those lines.
Oh right, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
I did see that.
So yeah, really there like I said, man, where there's smoke, there's fire. There's got to be something happening there with that character. Whether it's just like PlayStation Productions making it into like a TV series again, or if there is actually going to be a game. Like I don't know, man. I feel it in my bones, man. There's something happening with Sly. Something happening.
Whether it's good or not, that we'll wait to see, right?
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, I hope so, man. Like I said, like I want Sly to come back, man.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But all right, man. Let's get into probably what I think is the main topic this week, and that was the state of play. Um, so yeah, PlayStation had a 20-minute state of play focused on primarily on Japanese developers on Wednesday, March 9th. We all watched it, I'm assuming. Um,
Yeah, I did. I
s-
definitely did.
yeah, so what did you think? What are your sort of like top level thoughts on PlayStation's latest state of play?
I really liked it. It was surprising, that's for sure.
In
It
what
was
sense?
in the sense that I was like these PlayStation insiders on Twitter, man. I totally got embarrassed with my predictions. I
What did you predict?
Final Fantasy 16 was absolutely going to be there.
Come on. You
Come, you tell
deny.
me the sign again. The signs were there. The Japanese
No, they
publishers,
weren't.
Japanese publishers. Like, what's a bigger Japanese publisher going to be focused on in a PlayStation show? Not showcase, but a PlayStation show. That's going to be Square Enix. And I was right. Square Enix definitely showed up. They just didn't show Fantasy 16, which is the one
With
thing
the
that's
game
quite
that you
the.
wanted.
Yeah, the one thing else I wanted, yeah, because I was really focusing on like a fall 2022 release or even winter 22 release for Final Fantasy 16. But again, it remains to be seen. But yeah, um, but yeah, overall, I really liked it. Like there was definitely a lot of surprises in there, and you know, the reaction to it seems a little over dramatic, but
It always is, man.
But regardless, yeah, I mean, we got a bunch of Japanese titles in there, and a lot of stuff I was looking that I like piqued my interest. But regardless, it just shows that Square Enix is they're definitely not done. They definitely got a lot more in the pipeline for 2022, which is more than what we could say beforehand. So
Yeah. Um, I don't know, man. Like again, we talked about this last time there was a state of play with with Gene. Um, I I almost kind of hate to say this, but like I feel like this is on us, and I'm not saying me because I wasn't saying that there was no 16 or that there was gonna be a 16 or a Resident Evil 4 remake or Persona 6 or things like that. But like I feel like it's on people who are really like there is a precedence, people, man. Like there is a track record of these things not being that, you know what I mean? Not being the places where you see those games, man. State of Place have always been places where you're gonna get a goddamn Gigabash uh showed off in
hey,
like
hey, hey,
those
hey,
types of games.
Giga Bash looks really cool. I played it at
Oh
PAX.
man.
I no real talk. I played it at PAX, and it's actually incredible. It's a ton of fun. That's definitely a DualShock and Sense night game.
Oh man. But I'm saying, like that's the level of games that you're getting at these things, man.
Yeah, I know mid range, not really like top of the line, steak dinners, but mostly like you're gonna get the Burger Kings to the Chili's,
Nah,
kind of.
you're getting a plate of baked beans at best. That's what you're getting.
That's just
But
don't do them like that.
hey man, baked beans are good, man. I ain't complaining. I'll take that.
Especially on some toast, right? Yeah, huh?
Oh, hell
Yeah.
no, man. But yeah, man. So like again, I don't know. Again, it's like the boy who cried wolf, man. Like I don't understand. Like there's a precedence, there's a track record of these things being like this. So like if you go into these things with that mindset, then I don't think you'll ever be disappointed. Like the Returnal Ascension update was a huge surprise for me. The TMNT Cowabunga collection was also a really cool surprise.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Um,
Do you actually want to run
yeah.
through what was shown, or do you just want to list off like your favorite stuff?
Um, yeah, I was just thinking like favorite stuff because like
Okay.
there's some things that I don't want to talk about, but then like yes, like those two things obviously were highlights. Trek to Yomi continues to look awesome. Um, I don't think the two stingers at the end with the Dio Field Chronicles and Valkyrie Elysium hit as hard as like I think PlayStation and Square Enix probably wanted them to hit or thought they would hit. Um, but nonetheless, still like two cool announcements, I guess.
Yeah, it
And
was
then
nice. It was cool.
yeah, so like again, like I always like have this sort of like rule of thumb of like if there's at least like two, even like three things that I can like hang my hat on and say and walk away from any conference or show and be like, yeah, those are things that I'm interested in, then it's like it's a quote unquote successful show for me. And then like another thing is that it's like it was only 20 minutes. It's another thing if this was like 40 minutes long and these levels of like announcements were in a 40-minute show, then sure I would be way more disappointed. But like 20 minutes, man, like that's nothing, man. 20 minutes and I walked away with like two or three things that I was happy to see. Then I'm not gonna be mad about that.
Yeah, same, same. And again, a lot of surprises. Especially when it comes from Capcom, right? They brought, I'm sure they probably pissed a lot of people off with that Exo Primal trailer.
They knew what they're doing, man. They knew what
Yeah,
they're doing.
especially with that red-haired lady there. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just for sure. That's definitely like not even a spiritual successor of Dino Crisis. Some branched off, uh, yeah, branched off part of Dino Crisis. By the way, it looked cool. But yeah, it definitely had like DMC vibes to it. But just
DMC, really?
yeah, more or less because as soon as I saw like the hub area where all the characters kind of gathered, I was like, okay, they're kind of going for like a Monster Hunter slash DMC vibe with like all of this, which is pretty cool.
Man, I got I
Yeah.
got I got nothing but Anthem vibe from it.
Really? Damn.
Yeah, the mech suits that people were walking in on, I kid you not, man, looked I exactly like the javelins that you wore in Anthem. Like go ahead and look at those
Okay.
javelins in Anthem and make comparisons, and it is fucking uncanny. Those things look exactly alike. That was my as soon as as that trailer was going on, that was my immediate thought when I saw those things, jumping and running about.
Oh, there you go then. I only thing I remember from Anthem is that one trailer that was showcased and kind of blew everybody away. That's the only thing I remember about that game.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Exo Primal looked cool. Let me see what the other ones. I'm going down the list. Obviously, Dio Field Chronicles. Obviously, since I'm playing Triangle Strategy, yeah, the name is super weird, but this seemed like it seemed like this game was like a mix of
So dumb.
XCOM, stupid, XCOM, and Fire Emblem, where you have kind of like the cinematic fighting between the two sides, but you can move around the field a little bit more. And also a little bit of Valkyria Chronicles too. So like I'm interested in that game more or less because of the gameplay, obviously, and then the composer, the person actually working on it, the same person that worked on Game of Thrones. I forgot his name, but
Oh, really?
yeah, he's actually one of the musicians on that game, which is pretty cool. So there's that. Valkyrie or Elysium. Sure, it was a weird way to kind of end the show with that, but a lot of people are really excited for it. I never played Valkyrie Profile, but this one seemed like it's pretty cool. I will say though that black-haired dragoon at the end of the trailer. Oh man, oh man,
Really?
that was the best part of the trailer, if you ask me. That little smirk at the end.
Really?
Woo, just
In
saying.
in that weird like it's not even like good cell shading graphics, man.
No, no,
It's like Gravity Rush 1 style of like graphics.
no. Yeah,
Like
it reminds me of another game that's releasing in another week, but besides the point.
yeah. So you're saying she looked good in that art style?
I'm saying she looked good. I didn't say in the art style. I'm just saying she looked good.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying she looked good. At any female in a dragoon is gonna tickle my fancies.
Oh
Um,
man.
but yeah, I want to hear more of your thoughts on Returnal Ascension, that free DLC, the free DLC that's putting in campaign co-op before another big time release. As a first person shooter that released in December without co-op. But tell me more about this one, so because I'm interested to hear what you're saying about that. Are you gonna boot it back up and play with some friends? What are you gonna do? Huh?
Man, I don't know why people were making that connection, but
You know exactly why people were making that connection. Stop it.
but yeah. So like, it's funny because last podcast I said that like I Returnal, similar to like Dark Souls games, are games that like I play through them once, I beat them. They're games I don't ever want to have to go through again. I don't want that experience ever again because they drain the hell out of me, man. They require so much of me that like I just don't want to like put myself through that again. But hey, man, Returnal Ascension, they had new story content. It looked like
Yeah,
I
with the
might,
endless tower or something like that.
yeah, I might. I don't know, man. I might be compelled to boot it back up and go back in there. I don't know, man. I don't know. I definitely,
Interesting.
I definitely don't want to do the campaign co-op. I don't. Like I just said, I don't want to go through that entire thing again, even if it is with a friend. But I might, honestly, I might dabble in the survival mode. That seems like it could be pretty fun. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but yeah, aside from that, that was honestly a really big surprise. That was really cool. I'm glad to see that Returnal is still being like supported, and yeah, hopefully, I mean, for people who avoided the game, at launch because it was too difficult, or whatever the case may be, like I think this is a really good way to reel people who are on the fence and to reel them in essentially.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. I agree. I think the tower the endless tower thing has a lot of potential too. And it goes back to like the arcade roots of Housemarque with like high scores and seeing who could be the better gamer for, survivability and stuff like that. So I think this is going to add more legs to Returnal, which is nice, but I'm in that camp with you where I am not going to go back. That was this was quite Return was quite a stressful it was quite a stressful experience that I'm
Yeah,
not going to go back to.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I totally understand that. But yeah, regardless, still pretty cool, man. Um, Yeah, still really cool. What did you think about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection?
That was awesome. That was one of the best surprises I feel like cuz that includes like what 13 games from
13, dude.
classic TMNT stuff, and I was only able to remember playing I think one of them, and that was like on a Game Boy Advance SP, but that was like the one game that I just played religiously when I was younger. Like that was a game I would bring with me everywhere because it was so much fun playing as the TMNT Turtles and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward just to just playing that, and I think it's getting a physical collection too, which is even better. So I'm definitely going to be picking that up. That's for sure.
Interesting.
And I think it has multiplayer too, so we can even play with
Yeah,
each other, which is really cool.
I think so. Because it was talking about PS Plus, like at the bottom of the trailer, it was like PS Plus required, stuff like that. Um, but yeah, regardless, really excited for that. But yeah, aside from that, really not too much else, if I'm being honest. But again, if like there was like between Returnal, the TMNT collection, seeing Trek to Yomi again, I think Forspoken had probably arguably its most interesting looking trailer.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
you know that that to me, for 20 minutes, it's an okay show. It's nothing that's gonna blow your socks off, but like for 20 minutes, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't feel like it was a waste of time. Not saying it was like the greatest thing in the world, but yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm in that boat with you. Um, yeah, Forspoken looked good. They honestly needed that heat off of them after that horrendous looking gameplay trailer they released that just didn't
Yeah,
look good at all.
I'm more of like, man, it's the same thing, and obviously it's 1000% a contractual thing, right? Like where it's the same thing that we saw with Deathloop, right? Where like, hey, you guys got to promote this game as many times as fucking possible. Like all your shows, Deathloop has to be in there. And it's definitely seeming like that's the same thing with Ghostwire. It's the same thing with Forspoken because
Yeah,
those two games have been in every single fucking event that Sony has, man. And I'm at the point where like, yeah, Forspoken had a really good trailer. But like I'm at the point where like I do not need to see anything else in that game. And you know what the sad thing is too, Macho, is that like probably it's more than likely Sony's gonna have another event between now and October, and guess what? We're gonna see Forspoken again.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because that delay, it just yeah. I mean, it bolstered out their the fall 2022 stuff, but yeah, I mean, we're gonna definitely be seeing it again. It's like the same realm with Deathloop, where just like we're gonna get tired of seeing it. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yep.
But I actually want to ask you about JoJo because I'm not into that anime show, but I don't know if maybe you. I know Walt's kind of like indisposed at this moment,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
do you watch JoJo? Did that get you excited if you
That
watched it?
was that was another like pseudo highlight for me was seeing that. It's like I believe it's just a remaster of like one of the old PS3 games, so it's not like it's a new game or
Ah,
whatever.
okay.
But regardless, just seeing it's always funny just seeing JoJo in general. So the fact that it was there at a PlayStation State of Play is funny within itself. I'm not gonna play the game, but it's still like I know a lot of people who really love those games, and yeah, just seeing it there was pretty cool.
Nice. Okay,
Um,
cool.
but yeah, man. Aside from that, not really too much else to really talk about with the State of Play.
I have one more.
Okay,
Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origins.
yeah. What did you think?
So we got another demo. I played it this morning, and it's as you expected. It's
Wait, really?
yeah, it got another demo.
No. Like you didn't like it?
I mean, so here's the thing. When it comes to Team Ninja games, I played the first Neo and enjoyed it for what it was, but I wasn't too crazy about it. The biggest highlight was the gameplay.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was just not really about the graphics or the story or the environments. Just overall, it was kind of just a mid game for me. When I boot up Final Fantasy Origins, the cutscenes and the dialogue is as I've been crying about for the past like year, where it's just not good. It's just not good, and I can't tell if it's being intentionally cheesy and bad or if it's like really trying to take itself serious. But I'm gonna be in that realm where I think trying to take itself serious. Like I don't know if you've seen that clip going around, so but
Yeah, I saw it.
how these guys meet is like how kindergartens become friends, where they literally have a shared interest and then they bro fist each other, and that's their signification of joining in this interlocking and dramatic adventure of destroying chaos.
Yeah.
Like it's straight up. Oh, we have the same crystal. Oh,
It literally
it's
reminded me
glowing.
of this scene from Sonic '06 where Shadow and I think it's Silver, where they pull out these fucking diamonds and they touch them together and they're like chaos control. It literally reminded me of that bullshit.
It's even worse in Strangers of Paradise, man. Just especially the character interactions where so actually when I'm playing the demo and I actually finish the Chaos Shrine, I go to the second area, which is Final Fantasy 14 base, which is really cool. It's one of the first dungeons you could do in Final Fantasy 14. I think it's called Satasha or something like that. But basically, it's like a cavern. So basically, an entire cave is lit up the by the I guess sea plants, the coral that are just highlighting the entire environment. And it looks really cool. And there's also it's also like a pirate den. So it's very atmospheric and stylized, which is really cool to see, like actually like in HD graphics, so to speak. But yeah, the character interactions with each other are just bar none one of the worst things I've seen in a Square Enix game. To the point where I'm just like, how did this even get approved? Like it's so out of left field from what 7 Remake has done and Final Fantasy 14 has done. To the point where I was like, am I just expecting too much out of these games now? Where like I'm expecting a certain level of quality and now like I'm getting flamed in forums because I'm expecting too much from them, and and the bar, the quality bar is just has been set too high, whatever case may be. It's kind of baffling for me, like when these characters interact with each other, and it's like so one note, and it just doesn't feel like it's going anywhere, and it feels like it's trying to be serious, but at the same time, it feels like a parody. Like I don't know what to really make of it. It's kind of baffling, especially that one clip or not clip, but that one scene that I did see this morning, where one of the characters you're talking to just pours her heart out into like her situation that's going on, and it's kind of like that thing in Uncharted where like one character was really pouring their heart out to Nathan Drake's like, okay, yeah, let's keep moving on.
Yeah,
This is even worse because the dude's like bullshit, and he turns around and starts playing a song on his phone, like, and it just cuts off, like it doesn't like lead to like another scene or nothing like that. Like it's so bad.
God damn.
It's quite
but like,
it's baffling.
is it so bad? It's like
Good.
good. Yeah.
I mean, it's the perfect streaming game where, yeah, you're gonna be like, it's so bad, let's just laugh at it and see, like, laugh how bad it is. But like for someone like that's going to like, oh, this is gonna be the Final Fantasy Origins, it's gonna branch out. Like you can't take it seriously, like how I wasn't take it seriously. Like this was gonna be like a new direction for maybe like a branch off of games, and it's like no. Like it's absolutely just taking itself way too seriously, in my opinion. But I mean, regardless, I really like the premise of it. So the entire idea of Strangers of Paradise is that these characters, right, Jack and Ash and the other guy, fake prompt, I'm just going to call him now because I don't remember his name.
Oh man.
They're essentially supposed to have like this essence of like they're not supposed to be here, hence the Strangers of Paradise in the title. But regardless, I think the story has something in the mystery of it. It's something really cool because they're trying to figure out essentially destroying chaos and you know how Garland plays into that and how the actual kingdom and all that stuff and like what's their secrets beyond there. So I think the story and like the actual premise of it is actually really interesting, but the execution is just horrible. It's just actually cringeworthy, not that great. But regardless of that, the highlight, similar to the reason why I brought up Neo, is because the highlight of Strangers of Paradise is the gameplay, is the job system that you play with. For all intents and purposes, I know that you're only playing as Jack in the entire, at least in the demo. I'm not sure if that reflects in the game, but Jack never feels old to play because you are constantly switching between, at least in the demo, 2 different jobs at any given time. So you are able to chain in some combos and do some canceling and stuff like that. So one of the things that you can do is that if you're a mage and then you're holding R2 to cast a spell. As soon as you cast that spell, you can change immediately to your next class and just like dish out more damage on like an enemy that's in front of you or next to you, where the case may be. So there's a lot of failsafe there, and compared to when I played it, the initial demo, one is a little easier, and your allies actually do something. Your allies are actually way more helpful, which is really good. So I think if you're playing it just for gameplay perspective and like you just want to drop into like these really gorgeous Final Fantasy environments, then and it kind of have that kind of nostalgia feel, and you just want the combat aspect of it, then you're gonna get it. You're actually gonna get a really good action role-playing game that has a job system of Final Fantasy that's really fun to interact with and level up, and it's actually pretty in-depth, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But if you're going in wanting like an engrossing story and characters, like I think it's absolutely missing the mark, especially when it comes to performance and graphics. Like I kid you not, man, this looks like a PS3 game. Like I'm not even trying to be a troll or anything. Like I have screenshots, so I'm looking at the graphics, and it legit looks like a PS3 game. Where the back, so in Horizon Forbidden West, how like you have the depth of field where it focuses on Aloy and characters and cutscenes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This game has that, but the background just looks like ugly blurry. Like when you zoom into a photo, like it's not even like a cinematic direction like Horizon Forbidden West is. It actually just looks ugly in the background of these characters, and like it you can see like the little weird halo that's going around these like the characters' heads, stuff like that. Like details is like non-existent. Like it's actually like an ugly game. To be case in point, it's an ugly game, but the highlight is absolutely just the gameplay itself. So
Yeah, that's what they're gonna hang their hat on for sure. Everything else seems like it's gonna be like probably average.
yeah, 100%, 100%. Which is kind of like how I feel about the Neo games in general, where the gameplay is really the highlight and everything else is really average. Um,
Yeah, pretty much.
and there's nothing wrong with that if you like that kind of stuff, and because you're gonna get a really good action role playing game.
Although
That's different from Final
I do
Fantasy,
think
but
yeah, I do think Neo looks incredible though. On top of its already like sublime combat, I think it looks pretty good.
which one, the
Um,
first or second one? I didn't play the second one, so I don't
I
have
played the
any.
second one.
Okay, okay. Yeah, if
Played like
anything,
the
then that
first
one's
and
probably
second.
improved. But from what I remember from the first Neo, like it just wasn't like a complete looker, but the combat was really fun. So I think it's the same thing here, where combat's just going to be the best highlight of the game. So
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? Another thing that we didn't really talk about is like the release date. Like this thing is coming out in March, right?
it comes out March 15th for early access buyers,
Okay.
and then the 18th. So yeah, literally next week.
Yeah, and then on top of that, obviously we have on the 22nd we have the Returnal update. It's like, man, dude, like these first 3 months have just been like non-stop, just like back to back to back to back, just like an onslaught of games, man. It just feels like it's not ending anytime soon. And then goddamn Ghostwire Tokyo is this month as well.
Yeah, yeah. It goes Ghostwire Tokyo, and then we have a couple of really cool like indie games that are coming out too. Like
Yeah,
that one with the cyberpunk side scrolling one, I keep forgetting the name.
like Anno or something.
Yeah, that's coming out this month too, and that just got a gameplay overview and it looks awesome.
Yeah,
It looks a lot of fun. So yeah, the first 3 months are absolute like yeah, there's absolutely something for everybody in the first 3 months of this year, which is really cool.
yeah, yeah, definitely a lot, man. All right, so let's move on and talk about Evo. I'm gonna lean on you for this conversation because aside from the lineup, there's not too much that I really know. But I think general consensus that I've been hearing about Evo is that people are happy about the lineup, right?
Yeah, more or less, more or less. I think a lot of people were expecting Marvel's Capcom to show up, especially with all the talks of free MVC2, the hashtag that Maximilian actually started, just so we can get some more rumblings, especially after Marvel's Capcom Infinite and kind of like the stain that left on that series. Marvel's Capcom 2 could definitely revitalize it. I think even the 2020 Evo, I want to say, before everything went down and then the pandemic and stuff like that, that Marvel's Capcom 2 is actually going to be a star of the show. It's actually going to come back. So I think people were expecting that. But other than that, the lineup is actually really good.
Yeah, man. I saw Guilty Gear was in there.
Yeah, let
Excited to see
me
that.
actually
We
bring it
got
up.
we got Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition. We got Guilty Gear Strive.
Look who
We got
came back.
Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate.
Uh-huh.
We got Tekken 7.
Yeah.
We got the King of Fighters 15.
Mm-hmm.
Melt Your Blood Type Lumina. Dragon Ball Fighters or Fighter Z. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. And Skullgirls Second Encore.
Which is really cool to see. I don't know if you guys are
Honestly,
familiar
yeah.
with Skullgirls, but that's a cult classic within the fighting game community.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's that I guess the most akin you can compare it to. It's like a mix of Marvel vs. Capcom and I guess like these I guess more or less like the anime games where like it's super over the top in terms of its combos and animations like
Yeah.
Marvel vs. Capcom. And
Played it on mobile.
I played it when it first came out, and it was just a gem. It was so much fun to play. Even the online was kind of bad, but regardless, what it grew into now with all these different characters and like the total backing of the community, to see it being a highlight and not just that, but also being like kind of like this is like the show ender when they were talking about the lineup was really cool. I think it came a long way. So the fact that it's even in Evo and is a main fighter in it, it's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sucks that the studio dissolved. I think like a bunch of things happen,
Yeah, I think
and they
Lab
just
Zero or something like that, or
yeah.
yeah,
They made Indivisible as well, which is a turn-based game with the same kind of style
yeah.
of animation. Um, yeah, I played it. This is one of those games that I stumbled upon it. It was accidental because I was just downloading free games, free mobile games, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna try like a million of them. And Skullgirls was one of them, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And I played it for the longest time back when, my God, when was this? When I still had an iPod. When I had my iPod, I was like playing it, but
Who did you play
since
as, if you remember?
um, oh my God, I can see her in my brain. She was so weird. Um, she had like an umbrella, I think. Uh,
Yeah, for actually, you know what? I think I know who you're talking about. It's been a long since I played that game, but I mean, one of the ones I remember was Miss Valentine. I think her name
Miss
was.
Valentine. I think that's the one. I think that's the one. Let me see. I gotta
Whichever
look
one
this
was
up.
the nurse, because her combos were so
Yes,
cool. She had
she was a nurse.
amazing
I
air
remember.
combos. Yeah.
I remember. Yes, yes, Miss Valentine. Yep, I'm looking at her. Oh, who the best?
Oh my god, what?
Oh man.
You know, I mean, so have you seen the Skullgirl like lineup?
No, I haven't.
Oh man.
I mean, it ranges from like obviously male and female, or I guess, yeah, male and female characters. Because
Yeah.
all of them are kind of like different kinds of characters, but they're all really cool and cool designed
Oh,
characters. But the way they fight is just it's so unique to
yeah, it's
each one
very
of them. It's really
anime.
cool.
It's very anime for sure. But yeah, and I'm surprised to see that there. There's a lot of games here that uh, they're still going strong, and I'm still surprised at how Street Fighter just kept growing. Especially the Street Fighter Five, because when it came out, I know a lot of people were disappointed because it had like three characters, and
Yeah.
now it's like a full fledged game. Um, but yeah, we'll see if six does that. Six does the same BS where they just give you like five characters and then do like a million battle passes or whatever, or season passes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
mean,
yeah.
were you gonna say
Go
something?
ahead.
Go for it. No,
No,
go
go
for it.
ahead.
Go for it. Go for it.
I was gonna move on, but no, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, the one thing that the one game I wish that was there is Killer Instinct. I feel like that game is just so good, especially as a fighting game. Just to watch, it's like it's one of the fighting games I just love to watch because of all the different combos that people can pull off and just kind of the mind games that are being played there. Uh, and I feel like that game just needs a new breath of life too, especially since Maximilian hosted a Killer Instinct tournament with a couple of people with more in the fighting game community. I think it reached like 30,000 or more viewers, which is like incredible for like a game that's like as old as Killer Instinct at this point, since it was the beginning of the Xbox One generation.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to Marvel's Capcom, it's not gone. The actual EVO like manager, or the one person that's head of production there, did say that don't worry, Marvel's Capcom is being talked about. It's definitely in the back of our minds here. So hopefully we get some sort of announcement there, whether it's be like a remaster of sorts, that they're actually working on it, that it's actually in the talks or something like that, or that it's going to be like a secret feature at EVO this year, which would be really cool to see.
Yeah, that would
And
be.
I really wonder if if PlayStation or Sony has any stake in like the lineup for these games, or what they're doing, or what kind of promotion they'll be handling through the PS5 or something like that. I think it'd be really cool to see, how they're going to integrate Evo into the console too, which is be fun. I would love to kind of like turn on my PlayStation and see like, hey, the finals for Evo Street Fighter 5 is happening right now. Click on the app and then get to the
You
video,
can
something
see
like that.
directly there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be all about that. I love that kind of stuff. So I hope they kind of do that.
Yeah, it would be pretty awesome, and it's kind of reminds you of like Discord as well. Just like kind of waiting to see like, okay, now that you have this sort of like under your belt, how are you gonna like utilize it and combine it with the PS5? Yeah, they definitely have a lot of options there.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
I would imagine that. I mean, pretty much exactly as you said, Macho. Like, make use of the Explore tab or like the front page and just have Evo like front and center right there. Um, And you can even do like a in PlayStation Store, you have like a EVO section, and just like all the games that are in the lineup, just have them all like on sale essentially, and yeah, just be like, I don't know, something like, here's the EVO sale, and slash all those prices by like, I don't know, like 30% or something. That would be really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. I will definitely be about that too. Especially since fighters do really well on PlayStation, so I would look forward to really anything they post up. Honestly, a part of my mind was like, man, what do they do announcement for PlayStation All Stars too? Like that was the that was the irrational macho talking right there. But I don't know, it definitely entered the crevices of my mind for sure.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, man, that's going to do it for Evo. I'm happy for the community, man, because after last year, last 2 years, right, having it canceled,
Yeah.
um, and now having it back is has to be really really awesome for people. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm super excited for this year, especially, man. Like, I love watching Evo, so I'm excited to watch all these different tournaments. Again, a lot of my favorites aren't really there when it comes to like Marvel's Capcom stuff, but regardless, it's always really fun to watch these people go head to head in these fighting games, and it creates some really hype moments. So I'm ready to see everything from even from games I don't play like Tekken and stuff like that. I'm still ready to see like what these guys do. It's so fun to just kind of watch. I think they even have like a new stadium this year too, or something like that. So it'll probably be a lot bigger, more of an event than it has been before, which is always really exciting.
interesting, interesting. Um, but yeah, that's going to do it for Evo, and I guess that's probably gonna do it for the podcast as well. Unless is there anything other small that you guys wanted to touch on before we get out of here?
I want to see if Walt wanted to put his take on the state of play because we talked about it.
Okay.
He wasn't here at all, so he was too busy taking a
uh,
nap.
uh, um, very Japanese. It's very, very exciting.
Yes.
It reminds me of the Nintendo Direct that Xenoblade was on, and we had all these JRPGs announced and Japanese focused games. I'm interested to know more about them, about the new titles that we got a glimpse at. It's specifically, what was it, Valkyrie something,
Valkyrie
Valkyrie Chronicles,
Elysium,
Valkyrie Elysium, and then there's one that's something Chronicles, which is a turn-based game.
the Deofield
Uh,
Chronicles. Yeah,
yeah,
that's the one we're kind of laughing at the name because the name's a little goofy.
it's weird, yeah. But those specific two are the ones that piqued my interest a little bit. Um, Strangers of Paradise, hilarious. What else is there? Those two being the main ones that really stood out. Everything else was all right. The Extra Primal, it looks generic, but maybe it's fun, or maybe it's fun with friends. I don't know.
Yeah, that definitely seems like a co-op game. Sure.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like it can be a lot of fun co-op, but a majority of the things that the announced state of play, I just have to wait a bit more to see what they say. But specifically Valkyrie Elysium and the goofy name one, I cannot. What was it? Deofield?
With Deofield
Oh,
Chronicles, yeah.
the Deofield Chronicles. Yeah, those two.
I was
Um.
actually telling Soul earlier that the composer who did Game of Thrones is actually the music head on that game, I think.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
he's actually working on that. So
I'm a score guy. If you can hit with the score, I'm almost certain to play the game. If the gameplay, if the loop is great. If I get bored, that's the only type of game that I cannot get through is a boring game. Anything else, even if it's a bad, like Stranger of Paradise, I heard y'all uh, saying how it could be so bad that it's good, but we don't really know. Um, I'm just more interested in seeing how they tackle the Neo, like the Neo engine, and how they do the battle and the job system and switching and all that.
well, I'll tell you right
Um,
now, it's good. It's really
it's good.
good. I don't
Okay.
know if it's going to carry you for. I mean, depending on the kind of how you really like the gameplay. If it's going to carry you for 20 hours and 25 hours to upgrade these classes and stuff like that, and yeah, it's going to do its thing, and you're probably going to like it, and you're probably going to even love it, and just really like laugh at all the goofy stuff that goes around. But if
Okay.
if you're looking at more towards like the story and the character interactions. Like you, if you want to feel something, you're really just gonna be laughing at it.
Well, if it's something like Spider-Man Noir, um, the the game itself, what I really anticipate whenever I hear job system or class system is reward me at the end. Give me that's something I love about the Final Fantasy games is that you'll give me for instance when I met Waka, I was like his weapon, he has a ball, he has a sort of just a projectile. He has a weapon that's a ball. I wonder what the ultimate version of this is. And I love that. I love when there's ultimate versions of something and I can grind and level up to get to that point. So if each job system has like the ultimate spell or the ultimate like affinity for a certain weapon, that if they have that sort of reward at the end of it, then I think it'd be worth it. But if it's just there's no real impact, similar to how certain feats in Cyberpunk really don't make any sense and why they're even implemented, I'm gonna be it's not gonna do it for me. But I can wait to see more. It's not a day one purchase for me for sure. If you purchase it day one, then we'll ask you about it. If not, I'll just wait.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think I'm going to after playing the demo, honestly, just because it's absolutely giving me those vibes of like playing through levels without really caring much to the story or anything like that.
Mm,
And for me, that's a wait for a sale. But
mm.
the gameplay is solid. The gameplay is really solid. But yeah, it's just everything else is like really lacking to the point where I'm just like I'm not even gonna bother getting day one. It definitely seems
Gotcha.
more like a stream game where like you watch, you go on YouTube or you watch your favorite streamer play it just so you can laugh at like all the cringe stuff that goes on. And like for me, like I'm good. I got too many games to play to like really fool around in that.
Oh man.
Oh man, got it.
It's true, man.
But yeah, I get it.
It's
I get it.
legit. Yeah, it's legit. Like again, just playing through levels just to play them, and I'm good right now.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, man. I don't know. Like, do you guys think Sony is going to have, because obviously they got to talk about PSVR 2 at some point, some point soon. You would imagine. So
Hmm.
do you think? I mean, at least with like the state of plays, it feels like they've been doing them at least like every other month. Uh, do you guys think by May, will it be just another state of play or straight up showcase? Do we get one before E3?
I say that yeah, I think I'm 43, but like I think like kind of the I guess the rhythm of these things is they seem to come out like a week after big releases, except for Horizon Forbidden West. Because obviously they had more after that, especially with Gran Turismo. But this one came like directly after Gran Turismo, so I'm wondering if they're waiting to the end of Ghostwire Tokyo to do another showcase, and then they have or to do another state of play, and then they have another big showcase for the summer.
Yeah,
Mm,
maybe.
yeah. I
Um,
anticipate like a themed state of play, not like a full-fledged like all arounder, but something similar to like Ghostwire, where they did just a state of play dedicated to it, or like a Horizon thing. Probably do some of maybe God of War one. God of War
I
really, I
mean,
have no idea when that.
that's what they did for Horizon last year before E3. They did one in May, so
Yeah, they might do that for God of War.
I think that's probably pretty likely. At
Mm,
least in terms of like what we know for certain, what is coming out from first party this year, right? It's the big three of GT, Horizon, and God of War. So like
yeah,
now that the two out of those three are out, yeah, I do expect them to start ramping up like marketing for Ragnarok if it is still truly on track for this year.
exactly.
Yeah, because what else is coming out?
We don't know.
Uh,
We do not know.
no, no, no. Oh,
But all right, guys. We are going to end the podcast on that note. So I want to thank everyone who came through and watched us, and we're all like sincerely just like grateful for the support. Um, but yeah, we're gonna get out of here. Macho, why don't you start with your outro?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Horizon Forbidden West, Elden Ring, and Triangle Strategy. That's gonna be my weekend, and I'm excited just to get more into it, especially after a couple days just staying off games, and possibly more Batman stuff, man. I'm really in the Batman mood, so who knows if I go see it again this weekend. I'm aching to go see it again just to kind of catch things that I missed. But other than that, yeah, those three games, I'm excited just to dive full on into them and maybe finish one of them. We'll see. We'll see. I don't think we finish Elden Ring anytime soon because yeah, that game is here or there. So
Okay.
What's that supposed to mean?
Um,
I'm kidding.
no, ignore it. Don't get mad. Um, what about you, man?
Well, man, I'm gonna be driving to Connecticut and beat someone.
Oh man.
good thing not Connecticut anymore, huh?
No, no, I'll be playing more chipping at Elden Ring.
You mean mid
Playing a
ring?
little,
I'm sorry.
play.
What? Who said that? Who said that? Man, you gotta stop that, man. I
Oh man.
No. I'll be playing some Elden Ring, a little bit of Horizon here. Triangle strategy. I want to put some hours tomorrow probably. Got a bunch of stuff to take care of for uni. I got work today, so today might just play after work. Maybe a little bit triangle strategy before bed. Other than that, man, it's chipping away because these are all big games. I don't have anything that's just a short, sweet game. Everything I have to take my time with. If I'm gonna drive that far to another state, I have to be ready.
Man, you and me are gonna have a talk about Elden Ring off the podcast.
Yes, sir.
Um, but yeah, as
What
for
about you?
me,
Yeah.
same old, same old. Finally gonna finish Cyberpunk, get that over with, and then I got a little bit further into Horizon yesterday, but not too much. But yeah, I'll continue with that after I finish Cyberpunk. Um, but yeah, aside from that, not too much else. Um, so yeah, that's gonna wrap things up for us. You can find all of us, our social medias down in the description below if you want to follow us to keep up to date with whatever the hell we say on Twitter. But yeah, that being said, we will see you guys in episode of the DualShock Instance podcast. Peace.